Today we're talking about order of operations and the proper order to do problems if you see multiple steps or multiple operations in a problem. And many of you have probably heard of PEMDAS, but we are going to look at what's called GEMDAS. Okay? GEMDAS. GEMDAS is groups. The G would be groups, and that is your parentheses and your brackets. Later on, you'll learn that there are some other grouping symbols. And then M is multiplication. Now, when you see multiplication, it's always going to be multiplication or division left to right. So I'm going to put this, multiplication or division, left to right. Division or multiplication, left to right. What that means is whatever appears first in the problem is what you would do, because multiplication and division are inverse operations of one another. It doesn't matter which one you do first in the problem, left to right. Okay, so you need to do them left to right in the problem. Okay. And then addition and subtraction are also inverse operations. So whichever one comes first in the problem, left to right. Subtraction or addition, whichever comes first, left to right. Okay? Or let's try a problem. Let's do something. 8 plus 2. 15 plus 10 divided by 5. Okay? So with this type of problem, we're going to do I'm going to do this division first here. So I'm going to underline what I'm working with. 10 divided by 5 is 2. I'm going to put that here. I'm going to keep my parentheses until I'm finished solving everything in the parentheses. And what I like to do is rewrite the rest of the problem so that I don't miss any numbers. Okay? Now, let's start here. I'm going to do this one. 10 plus 15 plus 2. And then underlining what I'm working on, 17, and then rewrite the rest of the problem. And then 10 plus 17 is 27. Okay? All right, let's try another one. How about 13 plus 2, 8 plus 20 divided by 4. Very similar problem. I'm going to start with my division. 20 divided by 4 is 5. I'm going to rewrite everything else. Many of you will already know the answer to the next problem. When you're learning, I want you to still rewrite the rest of the equation just to make sure that you don't lose any steps. When you become more familiar with doing order of operations, then it would be okay to go ahead and solve that. But right now, we're just going to take one expression at a time, one expression at a time. Okay? All right. Let's go here. 13 plus 2 is 15 plus 8 plus 5. We still have parentheses, so we're using our order of operations to do 13 plus 15. And then here, it's 28. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's do this one. It's 18 minus 7 in parentheses times, let's do another parentheses, 8 plus 6.
Boys and girls, you did a nice job parading this morning, and spectators of the parade, you showed pride in the hallways, and you were very encouraging. Thank you very much. Parents, if you're still in the building, thank you for coming. If you have a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader or a PM pre-K student, then we'll hope to see you back at 2:15. Thank you.
Well, sorry about that. All right, 18 minus 7 in parentheses times 8 plus 6 in parentheses plus 3. Okay? Again, we're doing order of operations. And what we do is called GEMDAS, which is groups, which are your brackets and your parentheses. Your parentheses would be done first, and then next your brackets. And then multiply or divide, whichever one comes first, left or right. And then add or subtract, whichever one comes first in your expression from left to right. Okay? I'm going to start here. 18 minus 7 is 11. 11 times 8 plus 6 plus 3. Okay? All right, let's try this one because it's in the parentheses and we want to get rid of all of our parentheses first. It's our grouping symbols. So this would be 14. Then bring everything else down. Now the tendency is to do what we think is easiest first. Some of you might want to do this first, but in our order of operations, multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. Multiplication or division come before addition or subtraction. So we've got to multiply here. Okay? I ask that you don't do your work underneath here, that you go to the side, and that way you can continue to bring your problem down in like a V shape. So we'll go over here to the side and say 11 times 14. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Then I'm going to put my 0 as my placeholder because I'm now multiplying by the number in the tens column. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 and 0 is 4. 4 and 1 is 5. And then 1 is 54. Let me put that in there. Okay? So this particular part of the expression is 154 plus 3. And then that's the part that we're solving, so we underline it. And 157 is our is what our expression, the value of this entire expression. And you've probably heard me say expression and equation. This is an expression of a value. The value happens to be 157. An expression would be something that has numbers and your operations, but it does not have a plus sign. It doesn't have an inequality sign. So this would be an expression, is an expression. But this is an equation because of that equal sign. Okay? All right, well, remember when you're doing order of operations to do your grouping symbols here. You do your parentheses first, and then your brackets, your multiplication and division, whichever comes first left to right, or your addition and subtraction, whichever one comes first left to right. Now also remember that even in your problems, let's do another one here, because even in your expressions, you still have to make sure that you maintain GEMDAS even within the expression and within the parentheses or within the brackets. For example, on this particular expression, we have to start with 7 times 7 first because it's multiplication and it comes before the addition part of it. So I'll go 10 times 7 is 49. And then plus 5, I'm just rewriting the rest of the expression. And then here, I'll underline what I'm going to work on next. 10 times 54 minus 9. And again, left to right, multiplication comes before addition and subtraction. So I'll underline my multiplication part of the expression. And then 54 times 10 is 540. That's pretty easy. Minus 9. And then 540 minus 9 is 531. And again, if you need to do the computations for this part, or here, do them over to the side so that you don't do it underneath, okay? It will make it much easier for later when you're balancing equations so that you'll have room to see that one side of the equation is the same as the other side, okay? All right, so order of operations, please use GEMDAS. Grouping symbols, multiplication and division, whichever comes first left to right. Addition and subtraction, whichever comes first left to right.